Hi everyone, my name is Anna Sass and I've chosen to do my current international business environment presentation on the recent trade war between the US and France. The New York Times reported on January 21st that the trade war could be moving towards a temporary truce. So how did the trade war between the France and US start? US and Europe have had a long-term dispute in regards to government subsidies paid to aircraft manufacturers Boeing and Airbus. In October of 2018, the US said it would impose a 10% tariff on Airbus planes. Trump administration extended those tariffs to include all European aluminum and steel. While most of the trade news recently has been focused on China and the US, a trade war between the US and France would have a more significant effect on the US economy. The trade war started to heat up in July of 2019 when France imposed the Digital Services Tax, or DST, which aims to impose a 3% levy on revenue generated by big tech companies that do a significant amount of business in countries where they have no physical presence. Since corporations are taxed where the value is created, meaning where their headquarters is located or where they house their intellectual property, this negatively affects high-tax countries like France, where they don't have any high-tech companies of their own. It's important to point out that France isn't the only country that's looking to impose a DST. Countries like the UK, Turkey, Spain, Italy, and Canada have all expressed plans to impose digital taxes. Trump administration has described these taxes as unreasonable and discriminatory. While France originally reported that these taxes were not intended to single out US companies, the companies that would be the most affected by these new taxes were all American companies, specifically Google, Amazon, Apple, and Facebook. In response to these taxes, Trump administration has proposed levies of up to 100% on 2.4 billion US dollars of French imports. This would include items like champagne, cheese, and handbags, all of which carry a high demand in the US. Not only would it raise the price of these goods in the US and for US consumers, but it would prevent the farmers and winemakers in France from being able to sell and make as much of a profit on their product due to the lower demand caused by these tariffs. The impact of these tariffs were felt almost immediately by the French companies affected. Shares of French luxury conglomerate LVMH fell 1.5%, while those of Hermès International fell 2.5%. The announcement of these tariffs came just one day before both President Trump and President Emmanuel Macron of France were set to attend the NATO summit in London. While at the summit, both presidents took some time to step aside and try and work through these trade tensions. In the background, the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, has been working on a resolution to how global tech companies are taxed, recognizing that the current situation and current laws are insufficient. On January 21st, the BBC reported that France has decided to delay collection of the digital service tax on global tech companies until the end of 2020. If the OECD does not come up with satisfactory plans by the end of the year, France will resume collecting the DST. Back in the US, tech companies are obviously thrilled at the idea of not having to pay the digital services tax anymore. Multiple leaders of US tech companies, including Microsoft, have demonstrated their support for an OECD-backed global agreement. For now, the US and France seem to be coming towards a truce. With the extensive trade the U.S. does with the European Union, it's important for the OECD to find an alternative to the digital services tax. If not, the domino effect of this transatlantic tit for tat could mean significant changes for both economies.